Cover their secrets, the team reportedly employed advanced multispectral imaging techniques, illuminating hidden glyphs invisible under normal light. What emerged was a cryptic yet haunting phrase, interpreted through the lens of early Proto-Egyptian script references. We saw the twin lands. The sun never sets, but shadows walk there. This evocative statement, steeped in metaphor, conveyed far more than a simple geographic description. The twin lands likely referenced the two vast continents depicted in the map's contours, an unprecedented acknowledgement of territories far beyond Egypt's familiar world. Yet the phrase's ominous tone raises unsettling questions.
Two maps together showing America, the South and the North. And look, this is the oldest pyramid in Africa, by the way, found in Saqqara. This pyramid is called the Doja Pyramid. It was closed down for almost 60 to 50 years. Recently, as of 2022, they opened it up for tourist visits and attractions. All right, but this is the oldest pyramid in Africa. This is called the Pyramid of Doja, and look at it. It's obviously a step pyramid.
Territories far beyond Egypt's familiar world. Yet the phrase's ominous tone raises unsettling questions. The idea that the sun never sets allegedly implies a realm of constant daylight, an eternal brightness that defies natural cycles. The warning that shadows walk there suggests the presence of unknown, perhaps dangerous, forces lurking within this illuminated expanse, figures or phenomena not fully comprehended by those who ventured there. Such language hints that the journey represented not a bold conquest or joyous discovery, but rather a cautionary tale, an expedition confronted with unsettling realities that led to fear, misunderstanding, or even retreat. It paints a picture of explorers encountering a world that defied expectations, possibly hostile or beyond their comprehension. Further clues reportedly lie in the slab's very placement within the tomb. Unlike celebratory inscriptions meant to be prominently displayed, this slab was deliberately positioned facing inward, concealed behind a carefully stacked array of jars. Its hidden placement indicates intentional suppression or secrecy. Whoever interred the slab allegedly had no desire for its message to be widely known or celebrated. Instead, it seems meant to be buried deep, both physically and metaphorically, to be forgotten by future generations. This act of concealment suggests that the knowledge represented by the slab was dangerous or shameful, something to be erased from collective memory. It implies that what was found during that ancient voyage was not a legacy of triumph, but a dark secret, something that challenged worldviews and demanded silence. The implications are profound. This map was not simply a record of distant lands. It was a warning encoded in stone. And that warning, buried with deliberate care, reportedly continues to echo across millennia, inviting us to reconsider what ancient explorers truly faced and why some chapters of human history remain hidden beneath layers of dust and silence. The obelisk that confirms it all. As the scholars delved deeper into the inscriptions on an ancient obelisk.
Now look, there is an ancient obelisk that's been notarized, it's been mythologized in Egypt, and it is huge, and it has inscriptions that is telling a unique story in a language that we call the Medu Neter or ancient Egyptian Kemetic language. Now, what's unique about that is you find one also in another particular place with engravings and inscriptions, but not in the Kemetic language, but in the ancient Seneca Indians language, which is right smack dead in New York City, the place that we call Central Park. There is the same obelisk similar to the one that we're looking at now in New York City. Family, did y'all know that it was an obelisk just like this in New York City? And did you know that Central Park, which is where the obelisk is in New York, did you know that that was once called Seneca Village? Did you guys know that? There's just some food for thought. Don't believe me? Do your research, look it up.
Unearthed in Luxor, their initial assumptions began to crumble. Previously dismissed as purely ceremonial, mere symbols celebrating gods or pharaohs, this monument now reportedly reveals something far more profound. The hieroglyphs, painstakingly re-examined with modern...
Sister Soul, I appreciate you for coming through. Shout out to Sister Soul, and I appreciate you for dropping this 2 years ago. Appreciate that. And to be honest, I've been dropping this for 7 years. Shit, at least 5. Don't believe me? Go look at my channel. Go to my live streams, type in oldest YouTube channels, oldest videos, and you're going to see the same topic popping up.
Imaging techniques and linguistic expertise
Multiple times.
Speak in cryptic phrases about a vessel of the West, a mysterious ship journeying from beyond the Great Water. This Great Water is clearly the ocean, and the west was a direction ancient Egyptians seldom associated with distant lands, especially across vast seas. The obelisk's text describes this voyage as encountering a dark presence in the windless sea, evoking a haunting image of silent, perhaps dangerous waters unknown to their world. It also mentions a land rich in gold, death, and silence, a chilling triad that suggests not only wealth but peril and an eerie stillness, possibly the aftermath of conflict or
Yeah, a Tekken and the obelisk is the same thing. Brother Gable, that's just like a stele. A stele, a Tekken, and an obelisk is the same thing. They're just expressed using different words and different languages, identifying one particular style object. Okay. So, and I'm pretty sure if you go into the any other cultural people's languages, they have things for that as well. I think they call them totem poles in the pre-Toltec culture. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, let's get to some more of
a
this.
forgotten calamity. When this obelisk's revelations are paired with the enigmatic Saqqara map, a map that astonishingly appears to chart parts of the American continents, and the startling evidence of cocaine and nicotine traces found in Egyptian mummies, substances native only to the Americas before global trade, a complex and haunting picture emerges. It suggests that the ancient Egyptians were not merely riverbound or desert dwellers, they were explorers who may have crossed the Atlantic, reaching lands long believed to be untouched until millennia later. Yet despite these incredible links, the story reportedly turns darker. The obelisk's message implies a deliberate act of forgetting, a silence that was neither accidental nor due to lost knowledge, but intentional suppression. The ancient record's quietude was a protective veil, perhaps designed to erase a chapter of history too controversial or traumatic.
Now listen, it was deliberately hidden, but it wasn't deliberately hidden by mainstream scholars or even the earlier archaeologists like Champollion, right? Now what happened was the dirty Africans who was in close proximity to the Egyptians ran in on the ancient Egyptians, right? And deleted and destroyed and buried a lot of their historical narratives, facts, and documentation, forever erasing the history and the story and the origin of the pre-dynastic Egyptians of that place that we call Kemet. And so the Nubians are some of the people that helped destroy
To preserve openly.
that
This
up.
silence, far from being an oversight, seems like a calculated effort by the Egyptians themselves to bury a secret that challenges the very foundation of their known world. Why experts are still freaking out. Today, this ancient narrative remains shrouded in secrecy and controversy. No major museum has reportedly displayed the Saqqara map or the associated obelisk inscriptions. The Egypt Ministry of Antiquities maintains an official silence, refusing to comment or provide public access to these artifacts. Even many of the scholars and archaeologists initially involved in these discoveries have grown reluctant, avoiding interviews and public discussions as the weight of the implications sinks in. The reason for this hesitation is clear. If these findings are genuine, and mounting evidence strongly supports their authenticity, they challenge the established understanding of human history on a fundamental level. For centuries, historians and archaeologists have taught that transoceanic contact between the Old and New Worlds did not occur until the age of exploration in the 15th century. The assumption was that ancient civilizations were geographically isolated and technologically limited. But this map and the corroborating clues turn that assumption upside down. It suggests that ancient Egyptians possessed maritime skills, navigational knowledge, and daring to cross vast oceans. It implies a level of cultural and technological exchange between distant civilizations previously dismissed as impossible or mythic. This discovery forces a profound reconsideration of what we call prehistory. It suggests that our textbooks may be riddled with erasures, deliberate omissions of chapters that could rewrite the entire timeline of human achievement and migration. If ancient civilizations were more connected and capable than we thought, what else might have been lost to time? The one undeniable truth emerging from this puzzle is if this map truly exists, then this map rewrites history. What if the ancients did know more than we ever imagined and left behind proof we were never supposed to find? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video with us and catch you in the next one.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Thumb up the video if y'all can hear me, man. Drop those fire emojis. Let's get a few people to support the channel right quick. I got some heat. I'm going to show y'all a connection between the Americas and Egypt that only the secret, well initiated know. I'm talking about high-ranking Masons only know this type of knowledge. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give y'all some insight on what they're hiding from you guys in these books, in these Mason Bibles. I'll be right back in just a second. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and let's go. We'll be right back after this break. But listen, I am going to come right back, but I do need you guys to smack that like button. I need y'all to support the channel. All right, shout out to the tribe. Let's go. All right. Did y'all get that? Did y'all smack that like button, family? Did y'all smack that like button? So we just seen all this evidence from hidden maps buried in secrecy up under the pyramids in Egypt, indicating the America's presence. We showed high relief carvings made from the basalt that only Americans was specialists at. We also got the cocaine mummies showing evidence of the Americas in Africa. And those was all circumstantial archaeological evidence. So we're going to show you some more circumstantial evidence, but this is going to come in the form of some literature. So if y'all ready to get into it, family, drop those fire emojis, hit that like button, thumb up the video. We'll be right back. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. Then the blood in me making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Drop those fire emojis if y'all can hear me. Let's go. Let's go. We got some literature we're gonna bring up, but why we ain't get nobody to share the live stream right quick? Why we ain't get nobody to support this thing? What we doing? We in here today? We in here today? Oh, we not in here today. Do I need to take a moment of silence? What's going on? Y'all must ain't seen no information in a while. We about to get into it. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Simon for sharing the live stream. Shout out to everybody listening in on Instagram. Shout out to everybody listening in. I think Smoke is over here broadcasting. Shout out to Smoke and the viewers. Oh no, it ain't no silence. I put a moment of silence because y'all ain't supporting and hitting that like. But we need y'all to share this live stream. Hashtag Aboriginal Power. Hashtag First Americans. Hashtag First Americans. All right, so let's get into this heat right here that I got lined up. Let's go ahead and cook real quick. Let's go ahead and cook real quick for those that skeptical. The cradle of symbolism used in all masonry is placed by many of the best authorities in that country, which we believe was the first inhabitants, i.e., the plateau of Tartaria, aka from the transmitted to the generations by the sages of India, Persia, Ethiopia, and Egypt. We are not indebted to either ancient Egypt or either religion or masonry, but only to the Americas. And it is the fact that Memphis, Egypt, and the pyramids under the guidance of the kings and the mystic rites of masonry were worked many thousands of years ago. But by that time, Egypt and the continent of America were one and the same. They were one and the same. And America, rediscovered in the 15th century and repopulated in the 17th century, was recovered Egypt in the promised land, in the land of the constellation Eagle, right? No matter how numerous or complicated the works of a lock may be, but the right key be applied, right? The Great Pyramid proved to be the long sought key to the mystery at once of mythology and the great world religions. Especially interesting is it to Americans. In the year of Christopher Columbus, celebration of the 400th anniversary of the rediscovery of the Americas. So let's get into some more heat. We're gonna go right here. We're gonna go down right here just a little bit. This is where we're gonna get into the heat. America, aka Atlantis, and as the certain which has hitherto concealed the prehistoric connections between the peoples of ancient Egypt and of America is lifted, it will be seen that the people of the Eagle on the Nile, being descended from the original people of the Eagle of this land, prehistoric America, the originals, aka the aboriginals. And this is from a sacred book. You got to be initiated into the craft of masonry. This is a 33rd degree Oriental mystic masonry Bible. So they live and swear by this. And I'm giving y'all some secret details of the knowledge that they're hiding from you guys. All right. One of those is that prehistoric America was the original Egypt, or the land of the eagle land. Prior to the mighty dispersion in the days of the plague, when the earth was divided by the great globe itself was nearly rent asunder. Now let's look what this said. America was evidently peoples from the old continent, because there were only 8 persons to survive this great plague. They're talking about the Noah story. The Noah story comes from the America deluge story. Do y'all not understand this? Do y'all not understand what I'm trying to say? Now let's get into some more heat that I got lined up for you guys, because we're not done. We're not done. We got to make some more connections to the great Americas and the Egyptians. You know, the ones who really did the building was the great Americans. And the great American culture, such as the Adena in the Mississippian culture, formerly known as the mound builder culture, are some of the only people that are known ethnic and racial classification as builders. Like they're known to build. No other people has a classification that entitles or incites anything about building. Only we, the mound builders, which we went around the world building great monuments. When they say mound builders, we're not, the mound builders wasn't limited to just mounds. No. That was just probably some of their oldest works. But they did magnificent things like build pyramids, apartment complexes, civic centers, theaters, coliseums, cathedrals. You understand what I'm saying? These are all found throughout the Americas. And we're going to break this thing down some more. So let's get into it. If y'all ready, I need y'all to hit that like button, thumb up the video, and support the channel. Can I get y'all to support the channel? Support the channel. Let's go.
Keys on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. For the stats, I be beating the odds. Then the blood and be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
Just mysteries. They're warnings carved in stone. Cahokia Mounds, the lost civilization. Imagine a city bigger than London, thriving 1,000 years ago, long before the first Europeans even dreamed of the New World. Now picture that same city silently decaying, its inhabitants vanishing without a trace, leaving behind only massive earthen pyramids, causeways and clues that barely whisper of what once was. That's Cahokia. Cahokia wasn't just another village, it was a complex, sprawling urban center, the crown jewel of the Mississippian culture. At its peak around 1100 AD, it covered about 6 square miles near modern-day Collinsville, Illinois, and was home to an estimated 20,000 people, possibly even more. That's larger than medieval London at the same time. It boasted massive platform mounds, a grand plaza, wood-henge calendars for solar tracking, ceremonial complexes, and a rigid social structure. This wasn't wilderness, it was civilization. At the heart of the city stood Monk's Mound, the largest prehistoric earthwork in the Americas. It's 100 feet tall and covers over 14 acres. To this day, no one knows how the Mississippians moved that much earth with only baskets, bones, and wooden tools. Over 22 million cubic feet of soil were used, moved by hand. That's a feat of organization, labor, and vision that rivals anything built in pre-Columbian North America. But what truly unsettles historians and archaeologists isn't just the scale, it's the mystery. How did such an advanced society arise here, so far from the better-known Mesoamerican centers? More importantly, what caused its sudden silent collapse? The answer isn't straightforward. Cahokia had a rigid class system. The elite lived atop the mounds, the commoners lived in thatch-roofed homes around them. Rituals, sacrifices, and celestial events structured their lives. Archaeologists found mass graves with decapitated bodies, sacrificed women, and signs of brutal warfare. A pit behind one mound held over 50 young women, possibly part of a ceremonial sacrifice. Some argue that Cahokia's elite may have used cosmic power plays to maintain control. They tracked solar events with timber circles, giant wooden Stonehenges, to predict eclipses and solstices. These were no casual skywatchers. They aligned temples with celestial bodies. Time and power were woven together. But eventually, the center could not hold. By 1350 AD, Cahokia was largely abandoned. A city of tens of thousands faded into quiet mounds and forgotten fields. Why? Some blame resource exhaustion. The dense population may have overhunted deer, overfarmed maize, and stripped surrounding forests bare. Deforestation triggered floods and erosion. Cahokia sat near the Mississippi River, and as sediment built up and flood cycles shifted, it may have literally drowned in its own excess. Others point to climate change. A prolonged period of drought, the so-called Little Ice Age, hit just as the population peaked. Crops failed, hunger set in, social unrest likely followed. Cahokia's ceremonial plazas might have turned into battlegrounds. There's even evidence of external conflict. Fortified palisades were built around major mounds in the city's final century, not simple wooden fences, defensive walls with bastions, meant to repel organized attacks. Cahokia might have been under siege by outsiders or even its own people. And there's another layer, the spiritual one. When rituals stopped working, when the sun didn't return as predicted, when sacrifices failed to bring rain, did faith in the ruling elite collapse? Imagine a priestly class that once controlled the heavens, suddenly seen as powerless. It could have triggered chaos from within. What makes Cahokia's fall especially eerie is the lack of direct evidence. There's no massive battlefield, no records, no oral history passed down clearly.
Hey, master of self, you on to something. But listen, I broke this down years ago. Rome was in America as well. Rome was in America, big bruh. The ancient ancestors of the Romans are Aboriginal. Did you know that, Master Self? The ancient ancestors, which could possibly be a tribal name or affiliate, come from or Aboriginal. The ancient Romans. You feel what I'm saying? Rome was in Georgia. You right. It was in Athens. It was in Rome, Georgia, Athens, Georgia. You feel me? And it's a couple other cities around in Georgia that has these Greek names. Yeah, the Creeks is the Greeks. The Creeks is the Greeks. The Creeks is the Greeks, family. All this is told in reverse. This history is not made of nowhere. And guess what? Where's the Creek Indians headquarters? The Red Sticks. Where the Red Stick Creeks at? The Red Stick Creeks are in Georgia. Now, when you deal with Creek language, we're dealing with Muscovy Creek. Now, Muscovy, to deal with Muscovy, sounds like a Greek connotation. And I believe that some of the words are similar. If you were to spell Muskogee in Greek, it would come out more like Muscovy. Now, I can take it a step farther when I go back to some of the traditional wearing and clothing of some of the Muskogee Creek nations, and I go to some of the clothing of some of the Greek people. It's in similarity. Do I got to do this? Because I can break this all the way down from the Greeks to the Creeks. You understand what I'm saying? What's the capital of Greece? Athens. We're going to go to Athens, Georgia. Now, Master Self, I said Aboriginal. The ancestors of the Romans were Aboriginal. Now, listen, I know that sounds crazy, but I didn't make that up, brother. Brother Master Self. I'm gonna show you on the screen real quick. I'm gonna just show it on the screen because I don't like the people. You know, we can just Google this. You can just go to Entomology Online Dictionary. For anybody that want to go or follow along with me, you're gonna type in Aboriginal in your comment section on the Entomology Online Definition Dictionary. You're gonna go down to the term Aborigine, which is correct when you're using it as a noun. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. I'm giving y'all step by step for those that don't know what to do. Now we're gonna go to the definition and we're gonna see what it says for those that's confused on what the term Aborigines or Aboriginal mean. Person, animal, or plant that has been in a country or region from earliest time. And this is from 1858, and this was mistaken in 1858 as the singular. So Aborigines would have been plural, not singular. That's why I was said mistaken. But now in 1540s, the term Aboriginal is considered correct. Considered correct as a singular in English. Now from Latin, Aborigines. Now we're getting into the Latin, y'all. Now, Master Self, peep this. Now, from Latin, Aborigines, the first ancestors, inhabitants. Now, listen, this is where it gets key, especially of Latium. Hence, the first ancestors of the Romans. Possibly a tribal name. You understand what I'm saying, Brother Master Self? That's why I say that. No, that do not mean law, root words. I try to tell you that the word Jew means law. Now, when you dealing with the vernacular and the linguistics, when you spell Jew, Jew, it means you're doing bad law. When you spell Jew with the J-U, you're dealing with legal contender. You're talking about government fractions. So anytime you see Jew, which is judge, spelled with the J-U, you see judicial system, that's the J-U. You're going to see anything that's dealing with the legal procedures is going to start off with the J-U. I'm giving y'all real linguistic breakdown right now. Root words don't know this, and he's supposed to be the man that know the word. That's why he changed his name to Black White Indian, nigga. I'm the real root words. Let's get that straight. I'm the real root words. Because they're not going to give y'all, they're not going to break down this language like I'm telling y'all. They're not going to break down this language like I'm showing y'all, family. And if you think they is, you got another thing coming. That's why I'm here. Drop those fire emojis. Drop those fire emojis for me. Let's get the chat flooded out if you're an outstanding Aboriginal. Shout out to my FBAs because they coming into this knowledge. There's some stuff that they need to know too. Yeah. Shout out to the Aborigines in the building, man. We rocking out. So listen, hence the ancestors of the Romans. So I'm just letting you know we can go through more, but this is for another note. If y'all really want to get a full detail breakdown of the connection between the Romans, the Greeks, the ancient Europeans, the Egyptians, the Macedonians, the Sumerians, and the Syrians, all connect, link back with evidence to the Americas, go check out my live stream that's on this channel. All right. Ancient Kemet, Ancient Sumer, Fingerprints of the Americas. Go check it out on my live on this channel. It's fire. I think it's in my video uploads, not the live streams. Y'all gonna really enjoy that type of content. I'm telling you. Ancient Kemet, Ancient Sumer, Fingerprints of the Americas. That was one of my last lectures that I did. I thought about doing a part 2 to it because it was absolutely phenomenal. You understand? Let's go.
No conquering enemy left a mark. It's like the people just melted into the forests, leaving the mounds to be reclaimed by nature. One generation there, the next gone. Early European settlers didn't believe Native Americans had built.
Let me say this, Master Self. The Etruscans wasn't here. None of these people that you hear in these terms wasn't her. The people in their lineage is from her. So these terms like Etruscan, Carthaginian, any of these names, these are just terms from the same people that we call Americans that's in a different geographical location being named different things over different eras of time. Now, when you get into the root of who these people are, these are just ancient Americans that went and took their science, knowledge, and understanding elsewhere and continue to build. Obviously, the surrounding populations labeled them. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, I'll break down all this in this pay-per-view. Ancient Kemet, Ancient Sumer, Fingerprints of the Americas. Go check it out on the channel. It's free for the family. Go check it out.
These mounds. They assumed it was a lost race. Maybe the Aztecs, or even ancient Egyptians. The truth is simpler and more incredible. These were indigenous engineers, astronomers, city builders, and for a time, they ruled the Mississippi Valley. Today, only about 80 of the original 120-plus mounds remain. Roads and farmland erased the rest. The heart of Cahokia is now a state historic site, but suburban sprawl presses in. You can stand atop Monk's Mound today and see gas stations, parking lots, highways, a sharp contrast to what once stood here. Cahokia reminds us of how fragile civilizations can be, no matter how advanced. It tells a story of innovation, ambition, and perhaps hubris. And the silence it left behind, no scrolls, no temples with inscriptions, no spoken legends that survived European contact, makes it all the more haunting. The people who built Cahokia didn't vanish completely. Their descendants still live, scattered among various native tribes across the Midwest and South. But the city itself, The ideas, the rituals, the leadership, the collapse, that part remains buried beneath Illinois soil and open questions. Cahokia is a riddle, one that stares us down with its massive earthworks and challenges us to remember. Not just remember that it was here, but to ask why it was lost, and whether our own cities, gleaming with steel and glass, might one day meet the same quiet end. The Emerald Mound Enigma. Tucked away in the shadows of the colossal Cahokia site is a lesser-known feature that holds secrets just as enigmatic: the Emerald Mound. While not as famous or imposing as Monk's Mound, Emerald is part of the same cultural footprint. Located a few miles to the east of Cahokia's core, this subtle rise in the land might seem like an ordinary hill to the casual passerby, but make no mistake, this was once a deliberate construction, aligned with the cosmos and tied to a long-lost system of spiritual and social order. The Emerald Mound is not the same as the better-known Emerald Mound in Mississippi. It's Illinois' hidden twin, often overlooked. What sets this mound apart isn't just its physical structure, but its location, alignment, and the haunting mystery of what it once meant to the people who built it. While the main Cahokia complex formed the political and ceremonial center, sites like Emerald played supporting roles in a much wider, interconnected system. This wasn't an isolated city, it was a civilizational network. What little we know about the Emerald Mound's function comes from its orientation. Archaeologists have long speculated that its placement wasn't random. It aligns with the sunrise during equinoxes, echoing similar alignments found in the Cahokia woodhenges. These woodhenges, timber circles resembling a wooden Stonehenge, were used to track celestial events, particularly the solstices and equinoxes. Emerald seems to be an extension of that cosmic tracking system, suggesting it held ceremonial significance tied to the changing seasons. Now imagine standing there over 900 years ago, as the sun rose perfectly over the horizon on the spring equinox. People gathered, drums beating softly in the background, smoke rising from ritual fires, eyes turned skyward. For the Mississippians, time itself wasn't just a measurement, it was a sacred force. Aligning with the sun was a way of aligning with the divine, with balance, with the cycle of life and death. But what exactly happened on the Emerald Mound? That's where the mystery deepens. Unlike Monk's Mound, which contains traces of dwellings and ceremonial structures, Emerald offers few clues. There are no known burials, no significant caches of artifacts, no obvious structural remains atop the mound. Just earth-shaped with purpose, yet strangely silent. Was it a staging ground for elite ceremonies? A spiritual marker, acting as a way station in processions during equinox celebrations? Some researchers propose it may have been part of a pilgrimage route, stretching from the outlying sacred sites toward Cahokia's heart. If true, that suggests a much broader religious geography than previously imagined. Others go further, proposing that the Emerald Mound marked more than just seasons. It may have aligned with celestial events or star clusters now forgotten. In some Mississippian cosmology reconstructions, the sky was a three-tiered universe. Stars were spirits, sky paths guided the dead, and the horizon was a veil between worlds. Could Emerald have served as a literal and symbolic threshold between realms? And then there's the name, Emerald. It's modern, yes, but it hints at how we perceive these sites today, as jewels buried in a landscape, forgotten and overgrown. The mound itself is covered in grasses, brush, and trees, giving it a natural look that belies its human origins. Farmers plowed around it for decades, unaware, or perhaps just dismissive of its deeper meaning. More haunting is the realization that many more such mounds once existed nearby. Some were flattened during development, others were eroded away by time and neglect. The Emerald Mound, then, might not be an isolated enigma. It could be one of the last survivors of a lost ceremonial grid that once blanketed the area. Here's where the mystery sharpens to a point. Why build a mound so far from the main city and leave it so empty of artifacts? One possibility is that Emerald was deliberately kept clean, sacred space, not meant for habitation or burial. Some traditions dictate that sacred ground be left unaltered, pure, untouched by daily life. That might explain the lack of material remains. The builders weren't leaving behind tools or bones. They were marking a moment, a point in the calendar, a spiritual